thought it was Santa Claus. Nope, it's me. Welcome to the Online Jewelry Academy. I'm Professor John R. and I'm your instructor. And today I'm at the North Pole visiting Santa, and I thought I'd sneak into his closet and try on his outfit. It fits. Maybe I need to lose a little weight. Too many Christmas cookies. Every year, the Online Jewelry Academy produces an ornament video, and this year it's no exception to the rule. We're doing another one. And in this video, what I'm going to cover are these items over here. Now, I have a stitched ornament that looks like something that you might have done as a child, as a sewing card, which allows you to stitch a cool pattern, whatever you want. In this case, I've got a cool looking snowflake. And over here, I've combined layers of acrylic and added cubic zirconia to the top of it for a little bit of sparkle and scintillation on the tree. This one, I found an old pearl necklace at the thrift store, took it apart. Guess what? I glued them down to a tree shape to create little pearl ornaments on my tree. Now down here, what I've done is I've combined the stitching with some of these cool acrylic gems. These came from a arts and crafts store. They're for kids projects, but because they're a similar material, they marry really well with the plexiglass, so that's a score. Now over here, I'm just showing you a little individual tree with some cubic zirconia on it, just to show you that I've got a variety of shapes. I have 3 different sizes of trees. And lastly, over here, this OG shape, which I think is a beautiful Christmas ornament shape, I used the stitching idea, but instead I just made 2 straight lines, and here again I combined these acrylic gems from the craft store. So we're going to cover all of this in the video, and these techniques, by the way, are techniques that are applicable to your jewelry work. You can actually do something like this cool stitching. Maybe you use gold wire on silver. Who knows, but you can make some excellent jewelry using these techniques, not to mention the ones that we've shown in previous holiday videos. Now, why am I making multiples of these things? Well, I have a Christmas tree at home that's huge, and I love displaying the ornaments throughout the holidays, and I love giving them away to friends and family. And I bet you do too. So let me show you how you can be accurate and make the same ornament again and again, just like you can make a piece of jewelry. Now, the first thing I want to talk about are the ornament shapes themselves. This is an opportunity for you to be creative and to sketch out your ideas. And what I did is I sketched out a tree, and I drew 2 other trees inside of it because I wanted a variation of shapes. And then I traced over it with tracing paper. And then I took this piece of tracing paper and I used a glue stick to glue it to a piece of plastic sheet, just so that it wouldn't wear out. And then I cut out my tree pattern, which I can use over and over and over again. So that's an easy way to make the tree shapes. Now, accuracy you can achieve with graph paper. All right, so let's talk about the stitched ornament first. And before I go into how you stitch it together, I want to talk about the actual pattern that I'm using for the snowflake. Now, what I did was I drew out some hexagons. Hexagons are great because they mimic the shape of a snowflake crystal. Each of the angles is at 60 degrees, and that allowed me to trace out the rays of the snowflake and then figure out what kind of look I wanted for it. Then what I did is I transferred that to a piece of brass, again by just using a piece of glue stick to glue this on top of the brass, and then I just drilled through it. And I made drill holes large enough. I used a number 52 drill bit, which would allow the point of a permanent marker to go through so I could make dots onto the paper that covers the plexiglass, so that I could easily drill through and make the correct pattern. By the way, you noticed I'm using all colored plexiglass. If you can't get colored plexiglass in your area, if all you can get is the clear kind like this, guess what? Go ahead, get it. It's perfectly all right. What you can do is you can colorize it by using something like this. This is a Krylon stained glass finish, and it's basically just spray lacquer. And I used that spray lacquer on this OG right here. And you can see I used two colors. I used an orange on the outside and a golden yellow on the inside to create kind of an ombre effect. It gives this piece a lot of dimension. It's kind of pretty too. So back to the actual stitching. So once you've drilled through with your drill bits, now I've used two drill bits, by the way. I used a number 52 and I used an 1/8 inch drill bit. And this one's actually made for drilling plastic. And you can just use your flex shaft. Heck, you can even just use your home drill. They'll both work just fine. Be sure to drill into a piece of wood though. Now, put on your eye protection because you're going to be working with wire and you don't want the end of that wire to poke you in the eye. And what kind of wire am I using? Well, I went to the hardware store. And this is a 28 gauge soft brass. Now, all you need to do is just cut a length of this brass, like so. And when you stitch it, now I double stitch. I don't know if you noticed that or not in the sample. I just wanted you to be able to see it better. But what I did was I threaded the wire through the piece of plexiglass, and then I took the other end of the wire. Now I used longer wires, but you can use short ones if you want. It's really easy to hide your wires. And by the way, it took multiple wires to make the one that I have on the display. So anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to pull through and you're going to start your first loop. Now, the shorter length of the wire, it doesn't have to be this long. I'm just showing you for the demonstration purpose. What I did is I just left it loose and I started to just sew like a sewing card. Now, the trick is pull your wire tight. That way it doesn't kink. So I just went through the holes 2 times each, and once I had established this first set of loops, let me get this second one through here. Okay, so now what I did is I took the back shorter one and just anchored it by going underneath those first 2 loops. And I did that a couple of times, and then you can just clip off the excess and it's going to stay, and then you can just continue. It's super easy. It's relaxing. You can do it with your friends, your family. It'll be super elegant when you're finished. Now, another thing that I did is I got into the aspect of cementing or gluing things together because we never get to do that in jewelry, so I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And I did it in 2 ways. I used a ball burr and I also used a stone setting burr. These 2 items are great. The ball burr, what it did for me is it allowed me to take my snowflake pattern, and you can see here, I've got the rays of the snowflake, and I achieved that by just laying my piece on top of my pattern and then using the ball burr to make the little divots. Then what I did is I used a glue like E6000, and it's easier to control if you pour some or squeeze some into a syringe like this, and then you can just dot it where you want it. Once your glue's in place, then all you have to do is just bring your beads over and just place them on your pattern, and you let that set, and you'll be fine in the morning. Just let it dry overnight. Okay, so the other thing that I got excited about, like I said, were those really beautiful acrylic gems from the craft store. Now these were with the Arts and Crafts for Kids, and they were really cheap. So you can probably, if you don't have them at an arts and crafts store in your hometown, maybe you can find them online. And the way that I anchored these to the acrylic is I used this material here. This is a number 4 Weld-On clear solvent cement. Now, one thing you need to know about this stuff, it evaporates like that. So be sure you keep it tightly closed when you're not using it, and it's a good idea to use it with one of these. This is a little bottle that obviously won't be destroyed by the solvent being in it, and it has a needle tip on the top of it. This allows you to really control where you place this. And all I did was I just came up to these pieces and just applied a couple of drops under each one, just like that. And that's it. You just leave that for a few minutes and you're absolutely fine. It sets in about 15 minutes. It literally just melts the two plastics together and then they merge and become one. So you can see it's already kind of set that fast. Now, the same thing, of course, will work with the plexiglass. So I've got the plexiglass trees of different sizes. And basically what you want to do is get them where you want it. Don't use any tape because this material, if it runs along the edge of tape, it can leave a weird looking mark on your piece. And by the way, if you use too much, if you dribble on your ornament, don't worry about it and don't touch it. Just let it evaporate away, because if you touch it or you try to dab at it with a paper towel, you're probably going to leave a funny mark on your piece. So once again, all we need to do, it's like water. It just flows underneath that plastic piece, and I can do both layers. Oops, that one kind of moved. I'll put it back in place. And you can see it's really super easy. Now I'm being a little messy because I'm going fast for the video, but it's basically done. Like I said, sets in a few minutes, but let it dry for 24 hours or cure for 24 hours before you monkey with it. Now, remember that you can use your binding wire to make little ornament hooks because you want to hang them on your tree, right? And that's a nice thing to give away with these ornaments to your friends because maybe they don't have hooks around. Now, the OJA has made several ornament videos over the past few years. If you're a subscriber, what? You're not a subscriber yet? Click on that lower button, right-hand corner. You'll instantly become a subscriber. What do you get? Weekly notifications of new videos. And we also put fun things on social media as well. Now, those videos from the past with different ornaments, we've explored all kinds of things like copper fold forming, patinas, resins. We've made pineapples, we've made stars, we've used alcohol inks. There's so much that you can learn from those old videos, and they're all on the OJA playlist at onlinejewelryacademy.com. So subscribe now, check out our website, and if you like this video and you want to support the production of future videos, you can support us by going to patreon.com and pledging a monthly donation to the Online Jewelry Academy. Thanks for watching.
John!
Yeah?
How are you doing with those projects down there?
Well, I'm almost done, Santa. How come you're not down here yet?
I can't find my clothes, John, but I'll be down here soon.